Stop struggling with floats. How to choose the right float for big bites. Lately, I've been struggling with big fish while fishing for chub. Using my 7.2 meter rod with corn bait, the results were terrible days with almost no bites. Frustrating, right? So yesterday, I switched to a 3.9 meter rod and used commercial ground bait instead of corn. And guess what? Big smiles returned. Even in just a few hours, I caught plenty of smaller chub, and it reminded me of something important about floats. Here's the deal, a lot of anglers think a float that doesn't respond with big bites is because of poor adjustment. But in reality, sometimes the float itself is the problem: too big, too heavy, or the tail too thick. I had a friend using a short rod and float with a thick tail. His bites never came out clearly. He was adjusting the float endlessly, thinking that was the issue. I told him, "Your float is just too bulky. Switch to a smaller, thinner tail float, and you'll see proper bites." He did, and it worked instantly. Key takeaway: the float's sensitivity depends on two main things: weight and tail thickness. Tail thickness: thinner tails equals more sensitive. Thick tails can't show subtle bites, especially from smaller fish. Weight: lighter floats are more sensitive, but must match rod length, water depth, and wind conditions. You can't just use a tiny float on a long rod, it won't cast properly or stay stable. Here's a quick guide. Rod less than or equal to 4.5 m, depth 1-2 m, float 0.8-1.5 g works. Rod 4.5-5.4 m, depth 1-3 m, float 2-3 g. Rod greater than or equal to 6.3 m, depth 1-2 m, float greater than or equal to 3 g, even for shallow water. Big float helps with casting and line tension. Other float features exist, but they rarely matter as much as weight and tail thickness. Good craftsmanship today makes even affordable floats perform well. The key is, pick a float that works, then optimize for sensitivity. Stop blaming your adjustment, sometimes it's just your float. Get it right, and you'll see those elusive big bites come alive.